Welcome to WesternSlopeNow.com. Meteorologist Russ Pappas here. Beautiful sky out there today as we wrap up this work week. We've had a mixed bag of weather. We've had some cooler temperatures, darker skies, dry conditions, warmer temperatures, clear skies, and that's exactly how we're going to get into this upcoming weekend. What you see on the tower cam right now is basically what you're going to experience outside. Now, it all depends on your elevation, wherever it is you're going to be, high or low. Before we get there, though, the weekend is going to maintain dry conditions. Now, there have been some improvements along and east of the divide. Very little improvements west of the divide, so we still have rain deficits. For example, Montrose has exceeded that quarter-inch deficit. Grand Junction also has exceeded a 1.5-inch deficit. Now, we're going to maintain dry conditions through the weekend. I will be watching the San Juans over the course of the Saturday afternoon and Sunday afternoon, but most of the storm activity is going to remain further to the south in the next states, the borderland states, if you will. And we will be looking at our very own opportunity for getting rain and snow. And of course, again, that is elevation dependent because we're going to be way too warm to get anything other than rain next week. But it's next week that we have our eyes on the prize for rain. Now, as far as low temperatures go, we've experienced some pretty cool temperatures. 49 is the average low for Grand Junction this time of the year. 45 is the average low for Montrose this time of the year. So we were there this morning with clear skies. A light breeze made these temperatures feel just a little cooler, but again, manageable. Even if you didn't have a vest on or a turtleneck, those would be the order of business, the uniform of the morning, if you will. Getting into Saturday morning, we're expecting much of the same as far as low temperatures go. In fact, we're going to continue with this stretch of cool, mild, clear starts through the weekend and even into the start of Monday. But I think by Monday morning, we should start to have increasing cloud coverage due to our next approaching storm system. The weekend itself, hazard-free weather, with the exception of the freeze warnings we had in place earlier this past week. We've really had nothing else to speak of. Now, we will have an approaching storm system, and the timeline is still, and the intensity is still up in the air, but it looks like middle of next week. So ahead of that, we may get a little breezy. We're also going to increase the cloud coverage and lower the temperatures. But as far as hazards go, we may see a winter weather advisory, for example, over the highest mountain roads and interstates. So Highway 40, Highway 50, I-70. It may be too soon, but this one will likely put some snow down, probably higher than area roads, so we may avoid that winter weather advisory altogether. Radar on this Friday afternoon looking pretty clear and quiet. Not much to speak of. This will be a different story for the middle of next week. Now, our northerly flow is also reinforcing the dry conditions. We aren't getting cool with it, but we do have dry, and we will maintain dry through the weekend. Getting in through Saturday, that flow switches from the west, from the northwest to the west, so that's going to reinforce not just the dry, but also the warmer temperatures. We're supposed to be upper 70s at Grand Junction, supposed to be mid 70s at Montrose, so this westerly flow through the course of the weekend will help dictate warmer than average temperatures all the way through the end of the weekend. Now, watching the Los Angeles, Phoenix area, there's that cutoff low pressure system in Southern California. That is going to feed in some moisture. That's going to feed into storms for the borderland states of Arizona and New Mexico for the next 48 hours, but not for us. Now, as we get into the start of next week, that'll become a player in the overall weather maker, the weather pattern, because we're looking to the northwest for our cold fronts and our series of storms to pass through. And that is likely going to involve several cold front systems for next week. Until then, it's a ridge of high pressure keeping us clear, keeping us dry, keeping us warm. Getting outside this weekend is highly advisable. We're going to have fantastic conditions in the northern part of the state, the central part of the state, and the southern portion of the state. And as far as getting out and enjoying those colors, yeah, getting into the higher elevations, you're going to need an extra layer or two because you'll feel cooler. Now, all the way through Saturday night, not much. So we have great Friday night football. We have a great Saturday night special or fever, however you want to refer to it as, but it's going to be great conditions. And if you like to sky gaze, it's going to be a great weekend for it. Getting into Sunday afternoon, there's the pop-up in the San Juans. A little bit of energy getting thrust out of the desert southwest, moisture being transported in courtesy of that cutoff low pressure system. That cutoff low pressure system system is probably going to merge in with this cold front that's going to dip down from the Pacific Northwest, and that'll help destabilize our atmosphere and give us a little bit better widespread chance of showers and thunderstorms. Timing is everything on this, but we're looking at deteriorating conditions. And by that I mean breezy, cloudy. We're going to be looking at those conditions beginning after Tuesday. And if we had to put a timeline on it right now, it looks like Wednesday, Thursday, we'll start to see some measurable rain. Certainly after Tuesday, we'll get some of those measurable rain showers in the area. And then that should continue through at least Thursday. That's just a brief, to be adjusted, to be determined timeline. Now, temperatures as of this recording, 70s and 80s. You know, these are only a couple degrees warmer than the average, but for record purposes, 89 is a record temperature in Grand Junction for this time of the year. I don't think we're going to hit or tie any of those. We're looking at a light breeze Friday afternoon. That'll continue through the evening, lighten things up a bit. We'll maintain that light breeze in the Saturday morning and Saturday evening hours, but temperature-wise, we should be a degree or two warmer on Saturday than we were today. Same with Sunday, a degree or two warmer for Sunday, and those mid-80s will continue for Grand Junction through Monday and even Tuesday. But again, Tuesday's that kind of window where with the approaching system passing through, we should engage a little bit more cloud coverage, engage a little bit more wind, and then of course, once the frontal passage occurs after the midweek period, we're going to be looking at significantly cooler temperatures, and there's a good chance that they'll fall below the averages for this time of the year, which is basically middle and upper 70s. And it looks like, at least for our elevation, it's too warm for anything other than rain, so we could get a nice little light rain shower moving through the region for the midweek period. If you're higher in the elevations and a little bit closer to the mountain zones, Montrose, for example, we probably will carry those rain chances from the midweek period, and there's a window on either side of that, otherwise known as Tuesday and Thursday, to keep those showers going. Outside of that, that's really our next weather maker. There's really nothing other than that to look forward to. Of course, next weekend, we should be post-peak season, so I think this system will probably put down a lot of leaves. So this is the weekend to get out in the central zones. Next weekend would be the weekend to get out for the southern zones. But you're going to be doing so right after this round of weather. So just be careful how you're driving this weekend or next weekend. Pay attention to the roadways. A lot of people are going to be out enjoying themselves too.